All right, I think we're good to get started here. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar on what's new in FleetFocus M5 version 19. My name is Rick Seisel. I'll be acting as moderator for today's webinar. Before we do get started here, I would like to first introduce our two presenters today. First, we have Trang Sangster, FleetFocus M5 product manager, and also on the call today we have Deborah Wolf, Director of Product Strategy, who's going to talk a little bit about some of the newer integrations that we have set up now with M5. So our entire product team has been eager to share some of the latest and greatest features and enhancements that you can expect in this latest version, so we are very excited to have our product experts here today to showcase these. Before we get started, I do want to just jump through a few housekeeping items with everyone. The microphones have been muted, full disclosure, but do not be alarmed. If any of you have any questions at any time during the presentation, you are more than welcome and encouraged to use the WebEx chat tool. So each of you should see a little chat icon located on your screen, and this will act as an instant messaging tool. So please feel free to use the WebEx chat tool to enter any questions during the presentation. Just be sure to address them to host, and I'll be happy to field and relay them to our product experts at the conclusion of our presentation for what will be a brief Q&A session. So Trang, looks like we can see your screen. That's enough out of me. Take it away.
Thanks, Rick. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today I will be going over what's new in version 19 that was just released September 13th. Some of the 19 highlights that I'll be going over are continued UI/UX enhancements, tons of new features, including unit main, report log admin, some part journal query changes, homepage, and much more. I will also go through the user group winners that we have put into version 19. We'll start off with our UI/UX changes. We started doing UI/UX changes, as you know, in version 18. We are continuing to do those enhancements. For 19, what we have done is move the labels to the top of the field. This will minimize the scrolling from left to right, and our resolution changes have been done as well. As you can see, the screenshot of what it looks like in 19, and then this is what it looked like in version 18. As you can see, it's more narrow. We also did some enhancements to our grids to easier identify your data. We have put standards around it. We also highlight the row in blue, as you see on the right, so then you know which row you're on and identify your data. You can also see that it's more organized and looks more appealing to the eye. For Screen Designer screens, we have implemented the card layout look. So all of the controls in Screen Designer will be now in a card layout, and that is easier use to organize your screen. For work order main changes, we have removed the default of the unit, department, component, or work order number. For those who set a default, you no longer have to set it because we removed it. We have made the system smart enough to identify whatever that number that you're entering, that it is a unit or a work order or a department. In the case that you do have a unit number that is the same as a work order number, you will get prompt which entity are you looking at, the unit or the work order. Work order main has a new control to fit in with our new card layout. At the bottom of the screen, that should look familiar to you. All the miscellaneous links are hyperlinks. We added a new control to add buttons to go along with our look. We also have a new control for work order signature and also accidents. So you can capture signature now on the work order main or accident entry by adding that control. If you're using a mobile device, you use your finger to add your signature. This could also be used on a PC using a mouse. We also, for unit main, have added the ability to add an image. So you now can add an image of your unit and see it on your unit record. Also, for unit main foundation, we have added 2 new controls, a work order list and also a work request list. This will list all the work orders and or work requests for that unit. A new screen has been developed called Unit Maintenance Basic to view the work orders and the work requests on what you would normally see unit main. And Unit Maintenance Basic will not require Screen Designer. A new feature has been added for admins to edit their reports. These features, you can cancel changes, you can edit email addresses. For an example, if an individual email address is not valid anymore for a reoccurring report, you can go into the edit mode and change the email distribution list. You can actually edit the scheduling of the report. You can change where the report goes. There are 2 new privileges for this, and that is Report Log Admin Edit, that is to edit your own reports, and then the Report Log Admin All User will allow you to edit other reports. For part journal query, when you drill down into the part transaction detail, as you know, we have tons of fields. We actually added a search feature. It works like our filter finder. So on the right, on the top, as you can see, when I enter in the word code, it will then find all the fields that have that word in it and highlight it in that red box for you, so you can easily identify your data. For homepage, we added a search option. And that search option, when you're on your homepage and say you want to enter in a unit number in that M5 search, when you enter in that unit number, hit enter, it will automatically pull up unit main with your unit number pre-filled in and that record displayed. It also works for work orders. We also have added icons to be able to link with your favorites. And these are the list of icons to choose from. For those who use motor pool, as you know, our old screen, when you assign motor pool units, it pulls up every unit that is a motor pool unit. We have enhanced the screen to add filters. So if you know the unit number and you're going to assign it somewhere, you can enter in the unit number, hit retrieve, and then that unit number will display and you can go on and assign your class, location, etc. The filters include class, location, and where, tag, color, etc. On work order main, there's a new system flag for those who want to require a unit condition. If this flag is set upon completing the work order, the system will prompt you to enter a unit condition and the employee number that completed the work order or entered the unit condition. Also in version 19, we have updated our ad hoc And our old ad hoc has been renamed to Legacy Ad Hoc Query to preserve existing reports. The new features included in the new ad hoc upgrade will be drag and drop. It's more intuitive, grid-based report designer. You can customize your report and see it real-time changes. And you can now also subscribe or schedule your ad hoc reports. And I'll just go through a couple of screenshots of the new upgraded Izenda ad hoc. As you can see, the look and feel is a little bit different. It's more modern. The check boxes for your data sources rather than a drop-down. There's also a search. So if you're looking for a view or a field, you can start entering your letters and they will auto-reduce to what you've typed in. Creating the report, there's a drag and drop feature. As you can see on the left panel, that is my data source, unit main. And if I wanted to add the access dollars, I can take that and drag it and drop it into the columns in the middle. As I do that, the preview next to the configuration will start populating, and you can see your report get populated. And here's a screenshot of me entering in the word unit on the data source selection, and then you can see that all the fields that have that unit naming in there will appear. So then that way you can just grab and drag and drop. Here's another example when you look over on the preview side that the report is in quick edit mode, and you can see it populated in real time. And like I said, you are now able to schedule or subscribe to any of the ad hoc reports that you've created. You can also share reports as well. Another highlight in version 19 is a new screen called Unit Attachments Query. This screen will allow you to view a unit and all the attachments that has been attached to that unit. Meaning, if there was a attachment to a work order for that unit, that work order will appear down in the query results, and then you can view that attachment. It works for anything that is attached to a unit. And I will go into our user group winners now that we have fit into 19. Indirect account code security. We now have indirect account groups that you can create. This will be role-based. And this is to allow or restrict certain roles to be able to charge to certain indirect account codes. And this will apply to labor wedge, purchase order, part issue, part receive. If you try to enter in an indirect account code, if you're set up not to allow that, you will get a message. Also, we have expanded our dashboard functionality. Previously, our dashboard was set up by application users. Now, we have expanded it to role-based. We also have increased our KPI limits from 6 to 16. You can also set up your 4x4 grid by user profile, or you can actually do a global setting of an M5 parameter to set it globally for your users. There's a maximum of 8 dashboards, each with 16 KPIs. We also have resized and placed the indicator above the gauges. So if there's an alarm, you easily identify that. And here's 4 KPIs across, an example. And then you see that there's 2 dashboards there right now. You can have up to 8. We also added 2 new buttons for the results detail, current iteration and past iteration. This will pop up and you can choose a specific iteration. The spark lines will appear below the gauge, and it allows users to visualize past iterations more clearly, and it's making it's easier to click on it. Our dashboard duplicator has been expanded to allow you can duplicate a dashboard by role now, as well as application user. You will see the choices on the dashboard duplicator. And our last user group winner that we put in version 19 is make manufacturer model merge. We now have a way for you to clean up your manufacturers, your makes, your models by merging duplicate models to models, makes to makes, manufacturers to manufacturers. That is put right on the make manufacturer page, and on the right there, as you can see, are your merge actions. And that is it for the user group winners. I will now be turning it over to Deb.
Thanks, Terry.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm going to just cover a few new or enhanced integrations that came out in version 19. The first one I just want to spend a little bit of time on is the Napa Hub integration. So for those of you that don't have a Napa integration now, or those that actually we did, I'm going to talk to them a little bit separately because there would be different requirements. So if you don't have it, I'll just give you a little highlight. We do vended managed inventory with Napa, and we've had it for years in place. We've had batch processes that's been called under TAMs. If you saw it anywhere, it would be that in your interface manager. And we've embarked really actually over the past year enhancing that with new web services that Napa developed to streamline the processes. And in the M5 world, what that does mean is from a best practice perspective, it would be that we would recommend that you use the part request functionality in M5. So there's 3 real areas that Napa touches the FleetFocus system, and that first obviously is the part catalog, and that you would receive, your Napa parts. They get interfaced into M5 at the master level, as well as the Napa locations that you set up. There's the part request process, where the recommended process would be that technicians using the part request screen to request their parts. If those are identified as Napa parts, it behind the scenes automatically real-time would get sent to Napa to fulfill. And then the third layer there represents where Napa is fulfilling that part, and it sends in the part issue that gets allocated to what you requested it against, as well as it's also sending the invoice in as well at that time. So that's kind of in, a 3-step series, really how the workflow works. What I do want to stress is that this is a completely different integration. So it's not a matter of just turning off TAMs if you use that today and merging to the hub. We've embarked really on a partnership with Napa where we are controlling the upgrades that occur, because it's a new endpoint at Napa's side, new server that they set up. So there are some technology aspects to this that we do need to work jointly together when you are interested in upgrading to basically configure this and test this out prior to it going in your production. So if you are using TAMs today, and you probably have a Napa rep, or if you're in close contact with your professional services resource or your account manager, those would be one of the 3 people that you could reach out to express interest in that. On the M5 side with Napa, the final full Napa integration was released as in 19, but it was also released in 18.07, just for those that may be on 18, I would like to note that. And it also includes some additional functionality that TAMS didn't have, and that's a streamlined way to do part returns or cancels that you've requested that have already been sent out to NAPA. So it also includes that as well. So once again, just wanted to kind of highlight that, and if you have interest, just reach out to the appropriate person. And then what I would envision is there's probably going to be a joint call, possibly between, product here, your point of contact with your implementation project and NAPA. And we'll just make sure that you have clarity on the expectations of what needs to be set up so that it can be tested and implemented with success. The next one that I'd like to talk about is ChargePoint. So many of you probably have heard about ChargePoint. They are one of the leading manufacturers and sellers of their EV charging stations, both at companies like yourself, and plus they're also used out there in the public forum as well. So we have built an interface, an integration with ChargePoint. It's a licensed new integration. So if you have ChargePoint stations either locally that you consider that you own and distribute as like internal charging, or you even use public as well, this integration can handle both of those. So if the ones that you own internally and have set up as like in-house owned chargers, they would come in to the system through the integration as an in-house charge. So it's very similar to what you do for fuel. It's just that you would configure a product with a new type that we've added, which you would see on version 19 now in the drop-down. There's a new type for electric. The assumption is that you would set up the unit of measure as kilowatts, so that for any charging that you bring in, you can have a way to track that separately out from your fuel. And it's also been added to screens such as like the inventory issue. You'll see at the top of the screen, because we only had to make some minor changes, an option for you to choose, are you doing an electric versus a previous standard type fuel? Because what that will do for you on the screen is if you have some that you are not bringing in electronically, you could still manually capture your EV charging through that screen, and it just gives you some fields to enter in, basically your session time. So you can capture when did you start charging and when did you stop to capture the amount of usage energy-wise. There's an option, if you do use public stations as well to charge, you can bring those in, and those would come in as a commercial charge to separate out the difference between what you're charging with your charging stations that you own versus what you're doing at a public. So brand new, just came out in version 19, and if you have, ChargePoint stations, basically what we're doing, and you probably have access to their application in the cloud to look at your data, that's where we're retrieving the data. We've just built an integration to their API in the cloud. And then the last new product that I want to talk about that came out and is available in version 19 is we've branded this, it's called FleetMetrics. It's actually a partnership that we developed and built an instance. It's powered by Utilimark. Some of you, if you are a utility company, you've probably heard of them. They've been in the benchmarking business for years and have really cornered that market when it comes to utilities. They came to AssetWorks and we decided to do a joint partnership, basically to focus on a brand new instance for them, focused on municipalities. So this would be all our city, state, county government. Because the whole point of benchmarking is not only looking at your own data, but it's also giving you the ability to compare yourself of how you rank in your peers. So that's why this is, custom to municipalities. It has what you're seeing there is the landing page, and that top section is basically where the dollars are. That would be you and how you represent in the quadrant. Are you doing really well, on the green side compared to all the peers that are using the benchmark, or do you have room for improvement down there in the red zone? So some of the data that can be benchmarked in the FleetMetrics are included there on your left-hand side, but it really comes down to 3 classifications. One is kind of what they call corporate reporting, and that's really your fleet mix-up in general. And then there's the class comparison reporting, which is kind of what you're seeing there in the picture. And that's really where most clients will spend most of their analysis time. It lets you really drill down, look at mileage per class, lets you compare year over year. In this integration, we do start with 3 years. So right from the beginning, you can start seeing data and look at those trends for your past 3 years. And then it would be year over year after that it would add on. So there's one other reporting classification that would be what we call productivity, which is really kind of your technician work. You know, you can drill down and see, are you overstaffed, are you understaffed, how does your labor rate, you know, compare to others in the same type of city area? Because within this benchmark, you get to drill down and create your own filters to show, slice and dice the data how you want. So it's a pretty powerful tool. We are actively, you know, showing this from a demo perspective so that if you do have interest, reach out to your account rep and we can schedule a demo. But this is available in 19, and the implementation, how that would work, since we've partnered with Utilimark, is AssetWorks, you know, the project team would be the prime, and we utilize Utilimark's business analyst resources, who really are the subject matter experts in their benchmark, to actually help you map and normalize your data within the benchmark so that they work with each client that signs up, they analyze your data with you. It's a joint, you know, conversation or work session, so that when you're looking and comparing, for instance, there, like the light-duty service trucks, everybody's data, even though we all know you can all classify your coding structure differently, they've taken those codes and they've normalized it into their benchmark so that everybody's looking at the same data. So you've got clarity across your peers. So this, like I said, this just came out. If there's interest, it's a really great new addition to, I think, the FleetFocus BI that we have compared, you know, we've done great. We've got standard reports, we've got dashboards, we've got the ad hoc that you can do on the run, but this really gives another level of reporting power for you to look over not only yourself to benchmark, but against your peers, and that is something that we have not had previously in the application.
All right, I think we're ready to hear from some customers. So I want to thank everyone first for their feedback during the presentation here. It looks like we had some good feedback regarding some user group winners, particularly with unit attachment query as well as dashboards. And we do want to get to some of your questions here. And you know, right off the bat, thanks for attending again. A reminder: if you do have any questions at this time, please send them over to host via the WebEx chat tool on your screen. And provided that we do have enough time, I'll pass your question over to one of our product experts here, and we'll be happy to give you an answer or clarification. So let's see. First, Trang, right off the top of the presentation here, you were talking about the new unit maintenance basic setup, and the question that came through was, does this have to be added to the menu? And I believe you said, just to clarify, that this does not require a screen designer to do that, right?
Correct. This will be added to the sample menu, but individual menus you would have to manually add that screen. Okay.
A couple questions regarding attachments. One of the new features that you showed in M5 was one of your slides earlier in the presentation, and one of the questions was, are these photos all added via pre-existing attachments? I think the question is really asking, can photos be taken within M5, or does it have to be an attachment that already lives, I suppose, on that particular workstation that can be attached?
The unit main has a control now that you can add a JPEG, a picture of the unit image.
All right. And on that same topic, can multiple pictures be added?
There's one picture right now, I believe.
Okay. And what about flexibility perhaps with labels or titles that can be entered with an attachment?
Yes, you name your labels.
You name them yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Next question that came through was regarding the report log admin. Can the user who submitted the report be changed?
I guess so if someone created a report, they want that creator name changed?
I believe that was the question, yes.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But if you have the second privilege, edit all users, you would be able to change other things of that report even though you weren't the creator of the report.
Okay. And we can always follow up. I should mention this. We can follow up with each of you individually. Feel free to reach out to us, and we can dig deeper into this with our teams if you are looking for any further clarification on any of these. So on to the work order unit condition content. So are there any descriptions set up for condition codes?
No, the condition codes are user-defined. It's 1 through 9, and however your organization defines that, 1 being low or poor condition, or 9 being best, or vice versa, that's how you define it. The unit condition is a numeric number.
Okay. A question that just came through, and this ties into some of these slides that you showed with the new signature functionality within M5. Do these signatures work with smart apps if we have a customer who's using Mobile Focus Enterprise?
I would have to check with smart apps.
Inspections.
Within the Inspection Smart app?
Yeah, the inspections checklist has a signature option.
Okay. Couple questions came through about ad hoc reports. So are these available in test today?
On the hosted site?
I suppose, yeah. We can maybe follow up on that, but that was the question.
Version 19, if you are hosted, version 19 has been installed on your test environment.
Okay. And similarly, if a customer has existing ad hoc reports, will they need to be rewritten, or will they carry over to version 19?
Their existing reports will live in the legacy ad hoc query. That is why we left and renamed the old ad hoc. If you want to create new reports in the new ad hoc, that is there available for you as well.
Okay. All right, so a couple questions also came through regarding some of the content we covered on integration. So I'm going to start here. Looks like we have an EV guru on today's call who wanted to know, is there any mileage tracking via that integration, Deborah?
Yes, it does bring over the mileage reading. That's part of the mapping and the integration.
Okay, awesome. And we did have a couple questions come through regarding the benchmarking tool we showed with Fleet Metrics. So this, just to clarify, this is an additional module on top of M5, that's correct?
Correct. It is a licensed module, just because it's actually being hosted by Utilimar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. And if a customer is looking for cost information, their best bet would be to work directly with their account manager?
That's correct.
Okay, great. All right, well, excellent job, everyone. At this time, I would like to thank all of our M5 customers for taking the time to attend today's presentation, and hopefully all of you have secured some valuable takeaways to keep in mind moving forward. Any questions that we were not able to get to, once again, we'll be sharing within the team, so we will reach out to you with responses to those in case we missed you. I would like to thank at this time Trang and Deborah on behalf of AssaWorks for sharing their expertise and product highlights with everyone today. As I said, if you do have any other questions coming through or still that you want to send in, be sure to do that and we'll get you a response, in the next couple days or so. So, lastly, I of course would be remiss if I didn't mention the upcoming AssaWorks Academy. So, all of you should have received an email yesterday with a link to our now open registration site. The event is scheduled for April 5th to 9th in Hollywood, California. And as of yesterday, it looks like some of you have already jumped on this, but you can take advantage of our super early bird rate now through December 1st. That'll save you $400 on the event registration rate. You are also able to book your hotel reservations at the host Lowe's Hollywood Hotel via the built-in reservation portal. And we do have, for M5 customers specifically, some extended training options that you can look at, some new sessions that we're excited about offering this year. And you are also able to get ahead of purchasing guest passes if you do intend to bring your significant other or friend along with you to Hollywood. So feel free to reach out if you need any more information, but I think this slide just about covers what we have available for you today. And we hope you'll be joining us in Hollywood in just a couple months. 185 days and counting, but who's really counting, right? So thank you all once again for attending today. We will stick around for just another few minutes. Otherwise, have a great day. We look forward to having you with us next time.